18th century writer Jonathan Swift had many accomplishments. He predicted the two wingmen of the planet Mars a century and a half before the nerds got around to it. He introduced the word Lilliputian into the dictionary. I don't know what it means, but it sure is fun to say. And he remains the #1 advocate of putting the Irish in their rightful place. But eclipsing all these other efforts is this. Jonathan Swift defused the first mail bomb. When discussing a letter bombing, I guess the place to start is with the burnt corpse, or recipient. Robert Harley, 1st Earl of Oxford, was an English statesman with friends in high places. He'd used his network and family connections to get himself a seat in Parliament, become the Speaker of Commons, and by 1704 he was serving as the English Secretary of State. By 1707 he was serving as the British Secretary of State after he successfully oversaw the eating of Scotland. Bobby was apparently a pretty terrible boss. He made his employees work weird nocturnal hours and regularly kept incredibly sensitive documents just lying about the office during times of war. So, one day, one of his clerks, named William Gregg, scooped up a bunch of those files and sold them to the French. Bob lost his job after that and was really on the outs in British politics. But he managed to turn it around after marrying well and sponging off her influence to get made the Chancellor of the Exchequer. He also got a lot of sympathy after surviving an assassination attempt. The Marquis de Guiscard, French refugee and spy, was being interrogated by the Privy Council of Great Britain on the charge of treason, when he pulled a knife and stabbed Robert Harley in the chest. This guy stabbed the Chancellor of the Exchequer at his own treason trial. Think that scene from The Dark Knight when the guy on the witness stand tries to shoot Harvey Dent in the middle of cross-examination? But, real. Fortunately, Harley was a big fan of dressing like a pimp, and the assassin's main thrust was deflected by one of the countless gold baubles Bobby had pinned to his waistcoat. The knife still broke the skin, but the blow wasn't nearly as bad as it would have been if not for the bling. Jonathan Swift wrote a prayer for Harley's swift recovery. Get it? There's more puns where that came from. Anyway, it read, "Pray God preserve his health. Everything depends upon it." Why was a significant British writer and future Irish baby gourmand composing prayers for this guy? Well, simple. John was Bobby's spin doctor. Robert Harley employed several major British writers to manage his image and smear his political opponents. These included Swift, satirist and early feminist Delia Manley, and Daniel Defoe of Robinson Crusoe fame. Harley himself dabbled in literature as a preservationist, patron, and member of the Scribblerist Club Writers Circle with Swift. It's a good thing Bobby kept John around because all that PR work helped him get a job as the Lord High Treasurer, a position roughly equivalent to the modern Prime Minister. Oh, and because something was coming in the mail. It's November 4th, 1712. Swift and Harley are hanging out at the latter's place. Harley's sorting through his mail and... Okay, I gotta come clean. I sort of lied when I called it a letter bomb. It was actually a hat box rigged with several loaded pistols whose triggers were attached to a thread, but that wouldn't have fit in the video title. The thread ran out of the box, and any attempt to open it would snag the string and fire the guns. Harley picked up the hat box and was just about to open it when Swift noticed the thread peeking out of it. The writer grabbed the parcel from Harley's hands and cut the thread, thereby disarming the trap. To this day, we don't know who sent the thing, and based on the recipient's behavior, it's kind of hard to narrow down just who would have wanted him dead that week. So, what did Harley do with his third lease on life? Well, he shadily created a dozen new peerages to pack the House of Lords to get them to vote the way he wanted them to. He founded a slave trading company that went bankrupt, precipitating a major economic crisis. And within 5 years, he was being held prisoner in the Tower of London, waiting to be beheaded for treason. His crime? Giving, quote, evil advice to the Queen, and allegedly supporting a pretender to the English throne. Apparently, though, it took so long to prosecute him that everyone just sort of lost interest in the whole thing, and they just let him go. After wriggling out of the scabby hands of death 3 times, the Grim Reaper finally pinned Robert Harley to the mat in 1724 at the age of 62. His passing went widely unremarked upon until I dug him up 300 years later and made a video about him. Good night. Oh, so I wrote a book. Government in Exile is a weird little combination of political drama and 1930s-style screwball comedy. The lord of a manor is forced to take in hundreds of legislators and bureaucrats from the country next door, which just got invaded. The only way to get these annoying people out of his house is to help them liberate their nation. If that sounds interesting to you, you can pick up Government in Exile on Amazon through the link in the description. Anyway, thanks so much for watching.